Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Okay, we're looking at my wisdom decks from these Love and Crystals, her Tea and Tarot Tuesday. Okay, and I know I'm always a little bit behind the scenes, but anyway, so my wisdom decks. Okay, there's so many, so I just picked out a small selection, and I think any tarot or oracle deck that asks you to further your studies in many ways are going to be wisdom decks. So I've got a variety of both tarot and oracle decks. I do want to start with my Native American tarot. So let me 1 second. Okay, the Native American Tarot by Magda Wet Gonzalez. This to me is definitely a deck that requires you to actually do some learning, not just from the imagery, but from the study. The companion book has so much information into the cards and their history and a little bit more about the Native American teaching, but it also gives you learning and development within not just the spreads, but meditation, visualization, also gives you the correspondences. So it does give you a lot of information, because you're looking at correspondences in regards to not the connection with the Native American Tarot, but the Hebrew letters transcribed, meanings of the Hebrew letters. Native American Tarot connected to the Old Testament, New Testament, Middle Eastern figures. It gives you the Native American Tarot connected to the Roman Catholic saints and the Afro-Brazilian as well. Gives you connection between the Native American Tarot with the Dahone and Haitian Voodoo with the Ratiantikis. Does give you the connection with the runes and the Celtic deities, Arthurian legends, Norse deities, connection with the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Chinese gods, I Ching. So it gives you so much more to study and learn and meditate and to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge. There's so much in it. Like when you're reading through the meanings of the cards, the information that's shared, that Magda or Star Spider Woman actually shares in the book, just gives you so much wisdom. Any deck that requires you to study further is going to do that for you. So I really wanted to start with, as that was my first tarot deck, so I really wanted to explain just sort of how much this gives you and so much more. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other decks that I have. Okay, we've got the Compendium of Oracle. Now to me, this deck here, when it comes to the messages and things, are beautiful, but also too, it does require you to do a little bit of study, a little bit of learning, a little bit of gaining wisdom. The messages are just gorgeous. The artwork is stunning, which is fantastic as you look through. These, I'm not going to go through all of them. Okay, but the book does require you, it does give you a little bit of information about the witch and what it means, but you can go further and get more study and learn more about the card, about the witch. So that's what I love. You know, you've got this beautiful image here, you've got this information coming through, you've got this information about the actual witch here, but you can go and do more further study and learn more by you know, Googling or reading a book. Go to the library, read a book or whatever, you know, do more to find out more about this aspect of the witch. So I think that sort of gives you that wisdom, that knowledge. The messages are gorgeous, and I think you get so much wisdom and knowledge out of the deck through that. Such a gorgeous deck to work with. It's just beautiful. That to me is a deck of wisdom. Okay. Another deck I think is the Uncover Your Past Lives. Now let's sort of get into that. And 1 minute. Okay, I know this is the e-book that I've got printed out, but to me this book, you gain so much knowledge about the different archetypes, the different themes. It's just amazing, a lot of information, and you can gain so much wisdom and knowledge about your own journey or journey of others if you're doing readings for other people, of course. But this to me is a deck that gives you so much. Never opened it. It's a round deck. Let's just show some of the images here. I think you just get so much. You've got that on the on the front. You've basically got 5 aspects on the front, and then you've got these on the back in regards to faith, love, identity, time frame, lesson, death, location, and trauma. So you gain so much wisdom and knowledge about it, maybe a past life or something that's, you know, that's important to you right now. So I think that's just an incredible process in the journey. Okay, another deck, I think you gain a lot of wisdom about, a lot of knowledge. You get a lot of great information, whether it's past, present or future. Each card has 3 aspects to it. The guidebook is valuable in learning, going through that. I do want to go through it a lot more, but and the places set up into different sections. But you've got like Santiago de Compostela, Chichen Itza, Salamanca, Mount Shasta, Newgrange. So it gives you so much. So when you go reading the book is going to give you so much more when you look at the message. The message is the lower world, which is the past. Okay, so you look at the past here, then you look at the present, which is the middle world, and then the upper world is your potential, you know, the future, you know, what's possible. So there's quite a lot in these cards, and reading through them, and then you get an invocation as well, maybe to a deity. Or a journey. It just gives you something else to do that you can connect with. It just gives you so much wisdom and knowledge. I think you learn a lot, you gain a lot. The messages are so powerful, are beautiful to work with. So definitely a deck that I would recommend for seeking wisdom. So yeah, quite a lot. When you see all our, you know, a lot of the decks are like this. I mean, this is definitely not just one deck. You know, there's so much more. But I just wanted to give you an example of a few. I mean, we can be here all day going through this. I think Shadows of Light by HeKate. I think this is a deck that really provides wisdom in many ways, and the messages and the artwork is stunning, just stunning. You've got a title and a keyword. Or the keyword first with the title underneath. I think they're just stunning. The messages are so profound. They're just gorgeous. And it's got a little poem like the, let's have a look at 28, which is transformation. Let's have a look here. It says here, from death to birth, from flesh to bones, a new being is formed from that which no longer serves. And then it goes through the message. Something within me has been outgrown. The time has come to shed an old skin, uncovering my next incarnation. And it just goes on. And I just think it's just beautiful. You gain so much wisdom within yourself. It's self-development on such a profound level. So that's definitely a deck that is full of wisdom. Definitely another deck that I need to sort of work with on a bit deeper level. Now, the Shamans Oracle, another deck full of wisdom and knowledge, and lots of just gain so much from this deck with the junior, which is yourself, and what you take along on your journey. So you just go through so much with each process. I just think the images are really cool. The messages are fantastic in the book. You just get so much out of it. Again, like the Dancer of Inspiration. I'm the Dancer of Inspiration. So it's just amazing. It's just got so much information. It just gives you that wisdom that you gain through the messages of the cards. Really ask that you do some deep work. I mean, of course you do that with any tarot or oracle deck, but just this is my sort of just an example of a few decks I have that I sort of wanted to share with you. Okay, no, that's the right way. Oh no, that's the right way. I find this a bit, I don't know what it is. There we go. The Maori Oracle. Okay, any culture type decks. It does have a book, of course, with it. What do I do with it? But the cards there, and then it gives you a little story, a little myth, which gives you wisdom. The messages are beautiful, absolutely stunning. Okay, let me just grab the book. 1 minute. Okay, the Maori Oracle. So here's the guidebook, which has a lot of Maori spirituality. So any sort of cultural type decks do have a lot of wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge gained within them. It does give you a lot. It does give you the spreads and about the different cards. Oh, just stunning. Like you look at the kakahu, which is like a cloak. Kakahu, K-A-K-A-H-U. No, I know my spelling is, my pronunciation is terrible. Okay, so this is a Maori cloak. Purpose: by looking ahead, you can work your way through what must be done. When a weaver sits down to make a kakahu, it is a sacred act, more often for a member of her hapu sub-tribe, rarely for herself. She knows that she has many months of work ahead of her, involving many processes and observing many traditions. Harakiki, New Zealand flax, is collected, soaked, stripped, beaten, rubbed and bleached in the sun to become muka, a fine soft fibre. Sometimes the muka is dyed to provide coloured weaving material for the cloak and its decorative borders. Creating the dyes also takes a considerable amount of time. After all the preparation has been done and the materials gathered, the weaving begins, and when the weaving is done, the blessing begins. So it goes on. I don't want to go into too much detail because we'll be here forever. So this is definitely a deck that gives you the wisdom, and the you just gain so much learning from, and the messages are really profound when you're reading through them. So this is a beautiful deck with the any sort of like I said, any sort of cultural type deck is going to give you the knowledge or the wisdom that you can gain from it, the profound messages. Just beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful to work with. Just think it's superb. I'll put that in there. Okay. Yggdrasil. I think anything that's Norse is going to give you wisdom in the messages. I mean, they're just gorgeous. I know they're black and white, but the messages are so profound. And what I love is the deities. Okay, you're working with the deities. And so the Bifrost, the guide to the Yggdrasil, gives you so much information. The messages are so profound, allows you to really dive deep within yourself through meditation, through reflection. As you look, now each of the cards, the deck is split into categories. Basically, the categories are the 9 worlds, other worlds, right? So you're going to have that here. The 9 worlds. So you're going to have that here. The 9 worlds. So so the cards are split into these 9 worlds. Or these deities are split into 9 worlds. So it does give you something really quite deep to work with. I think they really are profound messages. Okay, tarot decks. Now, any sort of animal decks can give you really profound messages, I think. With and there's lots of animal oracles, of course, which ask you to which gives you a lot of learning, a lot of teaching. And the messages are really, the animals can give you really sort of profound wisdom in that way if you're working with the totem. I think that's a really cool. So any sort of animal deck, this is the Animal Wisdom Tarot. I know it's changed its name to Animal Spirit. So you can work with it as a tarot deck, but also as an animal deck. So I think if you decide to work with it as an animal deck, you're going to get some really profound messages from it. So any sort of tarot deck that has a separate theme, that asks you to do a bit of study, is going to, further your education, is going to give you wisdom in many ways. Talking about Norse, of course, Jane Wallace has several decks which I think get you to think. She's got this is the Magical Nordic Tarot, there's the Crystal Power, and the Angel Tarot. That's going to get you to gain a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more knowledge through study if you want to expand in some way. Okay, this is just a very small example of decks that I set aside for wisdom, for knowledge, anything that's going to get you to study. There's plant decks, crystal decks, anything that asks you to further your knowledge is going to give you wisdom in many ways, in many anything that has a profound message. There's so many. We could go on and on and on in regards to like learning in so many different ways. So I think anything that's sort of cultural, anything that's going to expand, like we have the Crystal Alley cards here. I mean, to me, this is going to give you very profound messages, give you the wisdom you need to move ahead on your journey. Let me just grab the cards. Okay. I mean, the messages here are really, especially when you're working with the chakras and the elements, I mean, they just give you so much information with meditation and reflection. The elements, it does really sort of give you a lot to give you the wisdom to move ahead. So, I mean, I could go on and on. I think all tarot decks, all oracle decks give you wisdom in some way if you choose to work with the deck in a wisdom orientated fashion. If you're looking at something a bit more deeper than just mundane everyday stuff, these are definitely a selection of decks I've showed you today to do that. So don't forget to check the links below, check the links on your on my channel, like, subscribe and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care and blessed be.